Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to What Women Want Talk Radio. I'm Judy Goss, and I'm here with my co-host, Kristin West. We have to change that beginning where it says we're here with Judy Goss. Judy Goss and Kristin West. And tonight, our show tonight is The Future is Female. G.D. Anderson, a poet, once said, "Feminism isn't about making women strong. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives that strength." What a statement, because I highly agree, and I think that we all need to perceive women's strength and our own strength differently, right? We're going to be hearing from two extraordinary entrepreneurs this evening. They both happen to be very successful in the competitive business of fashion. And they both started very young, teenagers, as a matter of fact, which to me is so impressive, having that type of motivation and drive at such a very young age. Megan Grassell, the founder of Yellowberry, and Marissa Lewis, the founder of Miss Jumpin', both incredible innovators in the fashion world. I can't wait to talk to them. We'll be bringing them on in just a few minutes. And in the meantime, I want to thank all of you, our listeners. We've been on the air for over 3 years, and we've hit over 800,000 downloads. Wow. But who's counting? We still get so excited every single show. And I know you do also. And if you haven't subscribed to us, please do so on iTunes or visit our archives on LA Talk Radio's website, latalkradio.com. You might be listening to that right now. You'll hear some of our celebrity guests who've been with us recently, like former Today Show anchor Jenna Wolfe. She was hysterical. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, Dr. Christine Carlson. Jean Chatzky is coming on in a couple of weeks. And who can forget the former O.J. Simpson prosecutor Marcia Clark, who was on our show a couple of times now, and I'm hoping she's going to come back and talk about her latest legal thriller, Snap Judgment. It's being released in about 2 weeks. So we always have captivating conversations with the most incredible guests. I'm very grateful. And you know what? Some of the best shows have been with women you may never have even heard of, but all are so phenomenal in their very own ways and with their very own inspiring stories. And that's what we're about, what women want. We find the most amazing guests on the planet. Okay, a little bit about me. Besides being the host of this awesome show, I am also a TV host, a regular contributor on NBC and Fox. I was just on Channel 11, as a matter of fact, in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, talking about how we totally underestimate our talents, especially as women. And I'm also an entrepreneur. I founded the nationally acclaimed What Women Want networking group 6 years ago, with several live chapters spanning from coast to coast. I'm a St. Martin's Press author and a freelance writer for New York Lifestyles magazine. And the most important job of all, I'm the mom of twin girls who are now 13 years old. What a household with two female teenagers and me. It's pretty wild, my poor husband. What Women Want Networking, same as our show, is hosting our Spirit of Women National Conference, our first conference in Atlanta at the Westin Peachtree Plaza, October 7th through 8th. We're going to have 300 women there. Go to spiritofwomenconference.com and join us. Speakers and celebrities are traveling from all over the country, even Canada. They're going to blow your mind, and we're giving over $4,000 in value with their teaching and coaching and panels and all kinds of fun stuff for less than $400 for a general admission ticket. That's crazy. So go buy your ticket now. They are starting to sell very quickly. We actually only have 25 VIP select tickets left, and we are closing the red velvet rope after we sell out, which we will. Spiritofwomenconference.com. We can't wait to see everyone there. Okay, let's talk about Kristin West. Kristin is my amazing co-host of the show. She's an award-winning actress and producer. Her film Seeking Valentina has been announced as an official selection at the Hollywood Dreams Film Festival in Las Vegas. I think that's in like 2 weeks. Oh my gosh. She can also be seen in the upcoming films The Spirit Room, Hell's Kitty, and The Lich, all due out later this year. Kristin, I mentioned earlier that our guests found success in their careers very early. Do you think people like you, because I know you did also, are an exception to the rule these days?
I think some people have to really search for their it. I remember the show we had, Finding Your It.
Yes, that was fun.
And, but there's that saying, all who wander are not lost. And I think that's true, too. And sometimes you need to pick up skills along the way that will help you for later.
Well, I have a lot of young women come up to me at our networking events and say that they are actually lost. So I'm wondering, what the trend is there and what they mean by that. Do you have an inside scoop on that?
I think one of the things that people struggle with is, our world is fundamentally different from our grandparents' world and our great-grandparents' world. It used to be hundreds of years ago, your family learned to trade, and it was passed from generation to generation to generation. So people have last names like Smith because they were Smiths, or Cook because they were cooks, and people had very defined roles. And as our society has become more democratic and more equal, as the march of progress has gone on, we have more choices than just following in our parents' footsteps, our grandparents' footsteps, our great-grandparents' footsteps. And I think people are finding their identity not based on what they do, but based on really more of who they are at a personal level. And I think that can be very challenging, and you can feel lost when you explore all of that and have so many choices.
So you think having too many choices makes people feel lost?
I think it can be very hard.
Intimidating,
and if you don't have good skills of discernment to know what's right for you and what's wrong for you, or what fits or what doesn't fit, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, both of our guests seem to know what they wanted to do, just like you. I'm so amazed with you guys because I feel like, well, you know what? I felt like every time I did something, I knew what I wanted to do, but I guess I just would switch quickly to something else because I've had so many careers and I've done so many things at this point. But I just admire women and really anybody who make up their mind from the very beginning and just go for it and stick their, feet in the ground and say, I'm doing it no matter what. I really didn't do that until I was in my 40s. So we're going to find out the stories of our guests now. Megan Grassell is first. She's the founder and CEO of Yellowberry, a brand she started as a 17-year-old to make age-appropriate bras for girls. That brand has grown into a lifestyle company for girls, focusing on high-quality products that come from a company supporting and celebrating girls as they grow up at their own pace. Megan was listed as one of Time Magazine's most influential teens. Wow. A Forbes 30 Under 30 member, Theo Fellow, and a role model for other young girls and girl entrepreneurs everywhere. Welcome to the show, Megan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Your story is just incredible. I was in tears after I read your website. And I almost feel like, when I see people like you, innovators, inventor types, and people who really weave in their personal story with their passions, is just really admirable. You're quite the role model for other women. Did you know that?
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so you did inspire, your company was inspired by a passion of yours. And I do know a little bit of your background. So I'd like you to tell us first what inspired you to start the business part. Was it what you went through as a child, or was that something later that came and you just had a light bulb moment type of thing?
So it was actually, I never really thought that I would be, building, what started as a bra company for girls. And so the reason I started Yellowberry was I was 17 and I took my younger sister shopping to buy her first bra. And we went to all these different stores. We looked online and we just kept seeing the same super sexy padded push-up bra for my little sister who was 12. And I was like, this is just really weird that everything's so sexy for such a young girl. But there was really nothing else available. And then I remember her walking out of the dressing room in what was suggested as a very popular first bra that was literally a leopard print push-up bra. And
oh my gosh.
She was really, it was so weird. And she was so embarrassed. It just wasn't appropriate. And there was nothing that we could find that was a high quality bra that was made just for her. And so I had this epiphany and I was like, you know what? If no one else is going to make bras specifically for girls, then I will find a way to do it myself.
Well, that's amazing. And I did the same thing. I have 13-year-old twins, so I did the whole bra shopping thing not, too long ago. And I did, walk out of the Gap because I thought, you know what, it's not just a bralette and it's not a Victoria's Secret, but there must be kind of some meeting point in the middle because I didn't know of Yellowberry yet. And she walked the next day or a couple of days later, she had a T-shirt on, and I thought to myself, she's not that big. And it just really, I feel like, I agree with you that some of these companies are making, the kids grow up too fast, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So tell us about, not just the inspiration, but really the thought process behind your company and why it's more of a community and not just a bra store.
Absolutely. So when I started, I was super excited. I was going to build these bras, whatever. And I figured, okay, I guess to make a bra, you need fabric. And so I ordered these 10 different colors from somewhere on the internet, not really sure. And then I took them to a seamstress's office in Jackson. I'm from Jacksonville, Wyoming. And she made my first couple samples and prototypes. And I would pick up my sister and her friends after school to try them on and see what they thought and get, as we were making adjustments and things, which was great because that was the product that I had to finish to be able to build and sell. But what I was really kind of obsessive about, my bigger picture vision for the company was, girls are so overly sexualized so young, and why could I not build this community and this, company business to support the process of girls growing up and kind of celebrate this time rather than, rush girls to grow up so fast. And so I felt like every piece of my brand had to really bleed through with that message. So I came up with these kind of 3 pillars of Yellowberry, if you will, that are really kind of the DNA of the company. The first being the name. So if you think about a berry before it's fully red or purple or ripe, it goes through different yellow stages. So it's like the yellow years of a girl's life. And then the second piece was trying to figure out the photography because I was going to build I was going to sell them online. And it was really kind of scary to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have bras for really little girls on the internet. So how do you photograph that in a way that's not really creepy or weird? And I was working with this wonderful photographer and I was like, why don't we shoot the bras from the back? And she was like, Megan, that's literally the opposite of what people do. That's not what you're supposed to do. And I was like, well, if we look at it from a brand and company perspective, we're standing behind her, we're supporting her as she goes on and takes on the world. And to this day, as a quick side note, moms especially really get and understand why I did that. But it's really interesting and sort of wonderful to watch girls go to the website because especially for their first bra, it makes it a kind of, for lack of a better word, a safe space. It's really easy and no pressure and not kind of in your face in terms of a shopping experience. And then the third piece of the brand, so I was literally sitting in my bedroom and I was trying to figure out what to write on the tags that was going to go on the products that I would sell. And I was like, oh my gosh, you just put words on these, what I'm going to write. And I had actually lost a sister in a terrible accident about, a really long time ago. And when she died, her godparents wrote this list of 10 things that were just the essence of Caroline. And they've always been up on my house. And I was like, some of these are more than just Caroline, but really embodies what it is to be a young, youthful, exuberant, happy girl. And so I pulled 6 of them. And I usually forget them on the spot, but they're go barefoot, so you can find a hug when you need one. Campfires are rare, so eat as many marshmallows as you can, and so on. And so I put them on the tag first, and now they're actually sewn into a lot of the garments themselves. So I was so excited about this brand and all these different elements, and I just, to this day, but I was like, this is so amazing. And so when I launched in January of 2014, I had received my first batch of product from my really small manufacturer, and I had 2 styles, 2 colors each. I was so excited. And then I launched the website with all of these brands, elements in my head, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. Oh my gosh. And then 30 seconds later, I had my first sale. And it was my dad sitting in the living room who bought the first Yellowberry bra to support his daughter.
Well, you know what? Your homage to your sister is wrapped so beautifully in the company, and what you went through as a child. But you were, I believe, you were there. When she passed, and to take something like that and have it as a business and still pay the respects back to when you're a child is just wonderful. It just gives me that warm and fuzzy feeling. I have, and I know Kristin has a bunch of questions for you too, so I'm going to let her jump in a second. But I do have one question that is just pounding in my head, and I don't know how you kind of built your company around this. How did you have a mentor as far as when you were building the business part of it, or someone to guide you, or how did you figure all that out? Because it's a lot of technical, details and things you have to know financially and all that sort of thing to build a company like this.
Yeah. I think in the very beginning, what I tried to do as much as I could was just reach out to as many people that were, in business or knew something about manufacturing or PR or marketing. I remember sitting down with one woman and asking her, I was like, what's the difference between PR and marketing or branding? I don't get it. But on the business side as well, when everything, when it started to really grow and expand, my mom actually became my partner about a year and a half or 2 years into the company. But up until that point, it was really, it was trial and error. And I think, it's really hard because I was always looking, I was like, where's the playbook? Where's my step-by-step process of, how to build a company? And there isn't, that thing doesn't exist. And so I think it's a lot of failing and falling on your face until you stand up again and get through it.
And were the people that tried to wave you off and just say, oh, that's silly because I've had that happen to me also, were they men or both women and men?
Both, actually. I mean, I remember one of the first people I went and talked to about my idea, and I didn't have anything. I think I had a piece of paper with some brainstormed ideas, and I told this woman, I was like, I want to change a bra for girls. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And she was like, I think, you should maybe think about finishing high school before you try to revolutionize any type of bra industry. But I mean, that was probably the most explicit kind of brush off. I have to tell you that when I would explain the reason why behind the company, most people just got it because so many women, the majority of women remember their first bra because it was such an awful experience. And so, especially a lot of the women I was talking to were moms. And so they were thinking about that same thing for their daughters. And so they immediately understood the reason why I started the company. And from there, I have been really fortunate to have a ton of really wonderful support, mentorship, advice thus far. And a lot of that, especially from women, but also from men too.
What you're doing is so great. You touched upon the hypersexualization of little girls and how you took a stand really by creating a product to combat that. And I applaud you for that. And I applaud you for pushing back when people were kind of poo-pooing this idea when you were first creating it. And, one of the things, getting a bra for the first time is a rite of passage for many girls. We don't really have, some cultures have rites of passage, depending on your religion or your cultural background, but, there's no universal rite of passage. And one thing is that getting that first bra, and I know mine was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. I was 8 years old and a B cup at 8 years old, and now I'm not a B cup and much bigger than a B cup, and still bra shopping is frightening for me.
Oh, it's the worst.
Right.
It's worse than a root canal almost.
Do you get feedback from these girls that start off with your bras about their experience, or once they've transitioned to a Ms. size or a larger size? Do you get feedback from them about their?
About the Yellowberry or about sort of bras in general?
Both, either.
Yeah, that's kind of like, those are the emails and notes, and people call and write letters that they bring me to tears, because there's so much anxiety from the girl, but also from the moms of like, I couldn't find anything. I was so terrified to take my daughter shopping. It was really awful. Or sometimes they'll take their daughter and they leave the department store in tears because it's awkward, it's frustrating, there's all of these emotions around it. And then they're like, we found Yellowberry, and it was wonderful. And one of the things I forgot to mention, but because in the beginning I talked to so many women about their first bra, and it was just awful. I did not meet one person who was like, oh, it was not a big deal, or I loved it. Literally everybody was negative. And so much of that was not even as much about the product, but about the experience. And so I was like, how can I make this special and exciting and positive in every possible way? And so when anybody orders something from Yellowberry right now, you get a box in the mail, and it's like a present. It's hand tied with a yellow girlfriend ribbon, and you open up the box, and everything's packed in yellow tissue paper, and there's inserts that I wrote myself about, how the bra should fit, how it should make me feel, and I go take on the world, and think little, like, there's almost these like little collectible pieces that the girls take on to, and stickers. And so the feedback that we get now, like half of the time, most of the time it's coming from the mom, but some girls as well, they don't even mention about the product itself, because, it fits and the girl loves it, but it was like that moment when she got the box, she unwrapped it, and she was beaming, or she was so excited. Or sometimes, the moms have a really difficult time even bringing up the subject with their daughters. And so actually a woman sent our team a note like 2 or 3 days ago, and she was like, I put it in her room. She went in, closed the door, came out, put it on, and didn't say anything about it. But for me, that was a win, because she had been so really scared about getting her first bra. So we get a ton of feedback about that, and it is absolutely one of the reasons that, that makes me so excited to be able to do this every day.
There's a study out that says that among grade school girls, that what they wear directly impacts their ability to learn. So if they're dressed hypersexually with their leopard print bra and their crop top, they're actually less likely to perform well in school. And that follows a female through her college years. That the way that we dress, or we're taught to dress, and our social expectations of dress can actually impact our confidence and our ability to learn. So what you're doing is extremely important in helping girls succeed, not just, wearing things that make them feel comfortable and are more age appropriate, but actually helping them with the bigger life stuff like school. But what I'm fascinated with your story is, a lot of people would go to the bra shop and say, okay, this is it, B-cup, leopard print, push-up bra. This is my life for the next, however many years. Mm-hmm. You really had to have a rebellious and confident streak to do what you do. Instead of just kind of going with the flow like we're taught and adapting, you pushed back. Was that modeled in a parent? Were you a rebellious kid?
Where'd you get that from?
Yeah,
at 17.
I don't think I would describe myself as rebellious, but I do. I think I had I was all these like sort of entrepreneurial tics that you have as you grow up, or I definitely had them. I remember like I used to make duct tape wallets and sell them to all my friends, and when I was in middle school, or my parents owned like a deli gas station thing in a town that I grew up in. And, it was a family business, so Will and I wouldn't get paid to work there because we were part of the family, it was just the expectation. But we could figure out, like, if we could work as, like, full-service gas attendants and make tips, and it was really great, and it made mom and dad happy, and there were more customers. But I don't know. I think I don't feel like it's my job to say what is or what's not appropriate for girls to wear. However, when I went on this trip with my sister, my frustration and frankly anger was that there was no other option, because I do, if a girl wants to wear something that's not Yellowberry, that's fine, but she needs to have the choice to wear something that is Yellowberry as well. And that was, nothing like that existed.
Yeah, and good for you for finding a solution to that problem. Seriously, no, really. I mean, and like I said, my daughter, went home with, and it was gray. It wasn't leopard print, but still, I mean, it was padded. And actually, they're off to the side now in her drawer. I'm about to look up Yellowberry because she went back to her bralette. Good, because it just from not fitting to making her look a little more bosomy and too grown up. It wasn't right.
Yeah,
I like how sporty they look. I perused myself, imagining myself back at, 8, 9, 10 years old in my little fantasy land.
Right.
And I like how sporty they look. They're very empowering. Bras sometimes they can be lacy and not just the sexy prints, not just the leopard prints, but, that they're lacy or they're very shiny. And, the straps, especially for a lower cup bra, they're very flimsy and they don't move with you. And I like that. It seemed like your bras really encouraged movement in girls, which is refreshing.
Oh,
yeah, you have the ballerina on the YouTube video, the ballerina that's dancing around, and it really made me visualize what Kristin's saying.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Like, we spend so much time on the fit, the comfort, and the fabric, because even if it's like a cotton bra that's not really meant to be a sports bra, I mean, girls will wear them all day at school, they wear them to dance practice. I mean, they're doing so many different things, and the last thing they should be worried about is their bra. So that's why we want it to be really soft. And a lot of times the feedback that we get from moms and from girls is like, I forgot I had it on. Like, it just fits so well. And to me, that's a win because, the girls can, focus on what's really important and how they spend their time and what their, school, sports and whatnot. So, yeah.
Well, I think all of this is very exciting. And I think you're doing a great thing for girls everywhere. And tell us once again your website. I know there are eager moms out there, and probably we have a teen following too. Tell us your website.
Yes, it's yellowberry.com. I use the Yellowberry company, but we have the URL. And then at Facebook and Instagram is at Yellowberry. And my personal is at Megan Grassell.
Now, are you in any department stores, or are you an online store only at this point?
We actually just launched a line of department stores in Japan, which was exciting, and sold through some of our recent products that were at Nordstrom. That's primarily on our website.
So you have a following in Japan too?
We do, yeah. Most of our sales and orders are obviously in the U.S. Of our abroad customers, we have a kind of an interesting growing contingent in Japan, which it's been really fun.
Well, that is amazing. What is one of the challenges of getting into that international market? Was it what you expected, or is there been
into Japan?
Yeah, into Japan. How is that for you?
We're figuring a lot of that out. It's one of those things that sort of happened a little bit organically. We had one store and then a couple, and then it grew, and then we got the phone call. It was similar to actually how we went into Nordstrom, which was, they sort of heard about us and we had been going. Get that phone call. That's amazing. However, it's in a different culture, different country, and the language I don't speak. So it's barriers to entry. It's been fun to sort of figure that out. I'm excited to go. We're going to go over there very soon, I hope, to see how that's going. But I feel like that thing is, as soon as you think you know what you're doing, you really, it's a learning, problem-solving process every day, which makes it different and really fun. And I think startups are awesome. Yellowberry in particular.
Well, of course. Well, I do too. I'm a big fan, Megan. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. Yes. We hope to have you back again. Keep us posted on what you're doing. And ladies, go out there and check out Yellowberry online. And especially if you have teen girls or a teen girl, check it out and see if we can spread the love for Yellowberry. And Megan, thank you so much for coming on. And our next guest...
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And our next guest...
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Is Miss Marissa Lewis. Marissa is an innovative fashion designer, and she strives to empower women with their goals and dreams. And Miss Lewis is Miss Jumpin', the name of her clothing brand. Marissa embodies the meaning of the American dream and is the entrepreneurial spirit of a hard-working individual. She's a designer, employer, philanthropist, visionary, mentor, and a woman of substance. Welcome to the show, Marissa.
Hello, ladies.
Hi, Marissa. Now, Marissa, you have a clothing company called Miss Jumpin'. Tell us about you and tell us about your clothing company. I'm so excited about this.
Okay, well, my name is Marissa, and I am Miss Jumpin', and I've had the company for about 5 years now. And I came up with the name because I'm always jumping around the city, and I have a lot of energy, and I love jumpsuits. And Miss Jumpin' was my vision from many years ago. As a child, I used to cut out fashion from my parents' magazines and place them in a scrapbook. And so I've always had a big love for jumpsuits. They're so comfortable, and you can just jump in them.
Well, I love jumpsuits myself. I love rompers. I love, the onesie for the adult. I mean, it's
I make those too.
Okay.
Christmas time.
Truth be told, listeners, before we actually went live, Judy and I were getting acquainted with Marissa, and Judy and I were both like, "Oh my God, we were trying to find out about you," and then we started shopping your website, and we got a little lost. So
there is too much on there that I want.
Right.
Thank you, ladies.
Well, that's a tribute to you. So you started out clipping clothes, and you found that the jumpsuit was your thing. And so,
yes.
So what was teen Marissa like? Besides clipping pictures of clothes and dreaming big dreams, what was teen Marissa like? That's what I'm interested in.
Teen Marissa was very energetic and very ambitious. I always knew that I used to have a dream. I used to have dreams, several dreams of myself on the red carpet. Now, I thought it was because of Rudy Huxtable and because I love the Cosby Show so much, but it wasn't that. It was. I thought it was. I moved to LA because I thought I was supposed to be an actress, and I went on a lot of auditions, heard a lot of no's, and I figured, like, this is not for me. So I got into fashion. I started in 2011. I started taking classes, private classes, to learn about business from a woman, to learn about business, to learn about fashion, to learn about different fabrics. And this was all downtown LA. And she taught me a lot. Within 6 months, she said, I have to let you out the nest. And I was on my own. And I started designing away and employing people and doing fashion shows. And doing fashion shows, each of the fashion shows I do, they each contribute to a charity, which I love. And I threw a fashion show myself where I was able to pick a charity and give back to that charity. So this is all, as a teen, this is all what I used to dream of. And I thought it was going to be me being an actress and giving back somehow or helping people in some way. Well, but as I got older, it turned into being what I'm doing now.
That's amazing that you had a dream, and then you tried some things out, and you really found that course. You made it onto the red carpet, and then you're starting to dominate it and slay with these fashions that you have. And I really admire your philanthropic efforts because, as a millennial you're welcome. As a millennial myself, I know I really like to try and support businesses that do put philanthropy forward. And one thing too is your investment really in your community. You really put down some strong roots here in Los Angeles. Why was that important to you? Why not go to another fashion capital like Paris, New York, Milan, somewhere like that? Why LA?
LA, I love LA. My parents live here too, so I want to be close to my family. family is very important to me. I do everything downtown LA. So the jumpsuits are made downtown LA. They're manufactured downtown LA. The fabric is from downtown LA. I work downtown LA. I live downtown LA. So I am all about community and working within my community to give back in some way.
You know, it's amazing because a lot of times when we're, especially the fast fashion retailers, is it, you know, you think about the bigger companies that are selling fast fashion, and you know, every tag that you look on, it's made in Bangladesh, made in Guatemala, made in Mexico, made in some country where people do not have the standard of living that we do, and that's a big trade and political debate. I don't really want to get into that, but it says a lot about you that you're really focused on the well-being of people around you, and I applaud you for that. How many what kind of team of people do you lead in doing this? How many people do you work with?
I have a small team, but you know, I have a small team that works with me with the design in my office, but I have people that I contract out, like sewers, or I have a lady downtown that cuts the fabric, you know, and then I have a lady that sews the fabric. So it's two different ladies that are working for me. So it's a big team of women that are working to make this dream happen.
Well, that's amazing.
Marissa,
Judy,
I'm wondering what the first thing that you designed is. You said you pivoted from acting to fashion, and when you did that, what was your bridge there? What did you have something in your mind that you really wanted to get out there, like this bra that Megan was talking about that she created? Was there something in your head that you always just wanted to, create?
Right. So as a little girl, I used to love the onesies with the feet. I used to wear the Oshkosh overalls.
So you went right into what you're doing now.
Exactly.
That's
right
amazing.
Because I got the idea and the inspiration because I would go into the stores out in LA and I would never see jumpsuits because that's all I care about. That's all I love. That's all I want. So I would go into the different stores, like the malls and different stores, and I'd only see like one or two. So then I said, I'm going to have a store full of jumpsuits, from casual wear to evening wear. And I just made it happen.
It couldn't have been that easy. Well, I'm curious
Wasn't.
No, it really wasn't. Like I can imagine just even taking the first, strip of material and starting from the very, very beginning. I mean, it's a lot of hours and a lot of work.
Yeah,
What's that?
I started out of my home, and from my home, 2 years later, I moved into moved into a big factory where they manufacture clothing, and the gentleman that owns it gave me an opportunity because I went to him and I said, I'm an upcoming designer. I can help you bring you other designers and to mass produce their work. And if you would just give me a little table in here to work. And so I went from my apartment to his factory to my own office. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. So basically you were making your own path and forging your own ways, which it was what I love about the future as female, because you're really creating, an example for women to follow, that are younger and also that are older, that want to go out and do their own thing. What are some of is there one main charity that you give back to, or I know you do a lot of philanthropy?
I do. I actually volunteer for the Downtown Women's Center, and that charity is so important to me because it's the homeless women that we're giving back to. And, whatever we can do for the homeless women, I'm all down for that because I work in the retail store. So they have different, sections that you can work, but I volunteer my time in the retail store with the fashion and the clothes. So people donate clothes, shoes, bags to the Downtown Women Retail Store. and they in turn around and sell them for, profit, and that goes back to the women of the center.
And what would you tell someone if they wanted to, if they had an idea that they wanted to create, or they wanted to open their own business, that sort of thing? What would you say to kind of get them moving forward with all of this? Because you seem to have a lot of motivation and drive. So what would motivate someone else to kind of get out there and not miss an opportunity like this?
I would basically, to be honest, I've been through a lot of ups and downs and challenges with, wanting to stick with this company and to be in it and to have it. And I would just tell anybody or everybody to just don't give up. It hasn't been easy, and it's not going to be easy, but you have to have the motivation, the drive, the want to keep your business and to stick in it through the good times and the hard times.
And also notice the pivots, right? Be aware of the moments when you should either move on to something else or move forward with something else, right?
Right, I agree. So true.
What was the sign that you felt like, you wanted to go on to something else? Was it one thing, or was it just kind of like a slow rejection?
It was the constant rejection of no and driving around, and I got to the point where I felt like I was just driving to no.
But I'm sure you got rejected designing your own line.
Oh,
no?
You're talking about my own line or the acting, right?
Did you, when you started becoming a fashion designer, didn't you get rejected, or was it just that was your thing and you just took off?
It was my thing, and I took off, but I did go through a lot of, meeting people that were not good people. So I ran into a lot of trial and error. It's just going in it and figuring it out, and being new at anything you do, it's going to be challenging. You're gonna feel rejected, and it's not going to be easy at all.
But if your passion is in it, then the challenges become challenging and not so much a burden, right?
Exactly. So true. Yes, I agree.
Kristin, what do you think?
Well, I think it's true. It's one of those things that if your heart and your mind are aligned, then things are much easier, and when your mind is in one place and your heart's in another, that makes things more difficult. Can you take us, being someone now that's in fashion and really making a name for yourself, what was that first fashion show like for you? Was it?
Oh my goodness.
Tell us about it.
It was amazing. It was very amazing, and it was very overwhelming. I'm glad you asked me that. It was 2,000 people.
My goodness.
What?
It was at Exchange LA, downtown LA, which is this huge venue. It's like this big club, and it fits like over 2,000 people. Well, I knew that it was going to be overwhelming, but I didn't know it was going to be as overwhelming as it was, because as you know, when you show your designs, when the designs go down the runway, and then the designer comes out. Well, I came out down the runway, and there was like several media and people with their cameras just taking pictures, and I felt like a deer in headlights, because I was so overwhelmed, and it was scary, to be honest. I just didn't expect so many people. And also, walking the red carpet, this is what I used to see when I was a little girl. This was my first chance of, I've walked the carpet at other people's movie premieres and stuff like that. But as a little girl, I used to see me on the red carpet doing something for me, or, that's all I would see. So as I'm like walking on the red carpet for this particular fashion show, the media is calling my name. They're like, Marissa, they're all calling for that good shot. And it was so surreal to go through that, to know that they're doing that because of the designs because of me. So it was a great first experience.
And don't you have a fashion show coming up too?
I do. My fashion show coming up is September 16th at the 1010 Wilshire rooftop. It's downtown LA. And I'm also premiering another line. It's Mr. Jumpin'. So I'll have Miss Jumpin' and Mr. Jumpin'. And
whoa! Wait a second. Hold on. What's Mr. Jumpin'?
Mr. Jumpin' is male rompers, male jumpsuits, designer,
wow.
male, like high end. Yes.
Get a load of this.
I am lit up like a Christmas tree right now.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, I it's so exciting. It's really exciting to be able to premiere my line, my spring summer 2018 collection, and also my spring summer 2018 Mr. Jumpin' male collection. So I'm really excited about that.
She has a jumpsuit on her website, a jumpsuit, and it's called, I think it's called Guilty, right? Miss Guilty.
Right.
And it's the color of kind of a prison type of jumpsuit. It's a really cute one. It's the kind of the same style as well. And I think it's just hysterical that you infuse that kind of humor in with your creativity, in with your passion, in with your business.
It's kind of an ode to Orange is the New Black. I thought, because, it premiered this summer in June, and that's when I put it up on the website. I felt like I love that show, and I felt, why not make a jumpsuit, since I make jumpsuits, and make one that would be, give an ode to America. Orange is the New Black.
That is so fantastic, and you're so LA, and you're so relevant, and now we have Mr. Jumpin'.
Did you guys see the big trend of male rompers this summer?
I did.
You did?
This is like the topic of so many memes too. Is guys sitting in rompers with fidget spinners and vaping. It is a sort of it's very au courant. But I think one of the things too is we have to, jumpsuits have kind of been a female thing, but they were at one point very much a working class male, day-to-day life not an expression, but it was a uniform. I mean, many men wear coveralls. It's part of the working class tradition of this country is to wear those coveralls, and they've kind of gone by the wayside in many professional environments. But it's good to kind of revisit and disrupt, which is what you're doing. And I think it's cool. And I think, how do you wake up in the morning and have these great and creative ideas? Is there like a ritual you have?
I wake up. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said, is there a ritual or a process that you have, or what do you do to innovate like the way you're doing?
I wake up. What works for me is waking up really early. I'm a morning person, and I like to wake up relatively early, whether it's 5:30, and then go to the gym, work out for an hour, come home and eat breakfast, and then head to the office. And, that works for me because I have so much energy in the morning, and I feel like I can spread that all over the office and give it to everyone that's in there. And, that's pretty much my ritual every day.
Well, that's amazing, and you're really you've structured your life, you've defined your priorities, you're making waves. 2,000 people. That must have been, an amazing moment in your life, and you're doing it again in September, and that's really amazing.
Where can we find out more about the show?
All right, so you can find out more about the show on missjumpin.com. So MISSJUMPIN, no G. But if you do G, it will redirect you to Miss Jumpin anyway. But you can find me there. You can find me at all my social media channels at Miss Jumpin, at MISSJUMPIN. And you can also follow underscore Solaire. He's going to be the face of Mr. Jumpin'. So underscore SOULAIRE.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Good luck with your next fashion show. I'm sure you're a pro at them now, and you walk out there like, you know, you're the diva of the room, so it's no problem anymore about the deer in the headlights.
Right.
I just think you're fantastic, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. And Kristin, thank you for all of the glitches and everything I've experienced this evening. It's just been, quite a ride. And everyone else, we appreciate you listening. And please join us for next week. We have Steve Olsher coming on the show. He's the author of What Is Your What? Talk about what is your it. This is what is your what. He's a reinvention expert, and he's also very into radio shows. I believe he was a radio show host also. And Susan Gunelius, she's a marketing, communications, and strategic branding expert. So we're going to learn a lot about branding and vision, I see, from next week. So once again, thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.